So in honor of the World Cup, there was a local soccer game being played. And there was one spectator who was just giving one of the referees just a lot of heck. He just wouldn't stop with the complaining and the insults and the disparaging comments, and he felt like he was not doing anything right. The referee wasn't doing anything right, and he just wouldn't stop. And the referee, to his credit, just tried to ignore him and just think he's just really focused on the game. But he felt like he was being watched by this one spectator, because the spectator was just complaining and spewing out all kinds of insults. Finally, the referee couldn't take it any longer. He went over to the stands, he looked the spectator in the eye that had been insulting him, and he said, I've heard nothing but complaints out of you for 20 minutes. And the spectator said, I knew you weren't watching the game. So I share that because 4 weeks ago, we invited you into a complaint-free world. The premise was that we would spend, each of us, 21 consecutive days without complaining or gossiping. And every time we would complain or gossip, we would take our purple wristband that we were all wearing that we gave you and switch it to the other wrist, and that would be day one, all over again. How you doing? Yeah. It's hard. I'm on day 5. It's been 4 weeks. This is not an easy practice. It's not an easy practice, but we can do it. It is possible. I've done this before. I did it in Michigan at my church there before we moved here years ago. So I know that it's possible. And what is our theme this year? But a year of possibility. Everything is possible to us. Everything. Anything. So we can do this. And it's challenging. It's challenging. It takes the average person 6 to 8 months to get to 21 consecutive days. So if you are on day 5 or day 1 or day, whatever, 15, you're doing great. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. It's not easy. And why is it not easy? Because we have lots of relationships and lots of conversations that our common theme in our conversations is frustration, is complaints. And we're part of a pack. And we don't want to lose our pack, because what happens if we're not complaining along with everyone else? Then we're an outsider, and then we don't feel good, and then they try to bring us back in. It's challenging. That's why we're doing it as a community, so that you can support each other, so that you can do this work together, because we need that support. Will Bowen, who wrote the book, who started this movement, A Complaint-Free World, Stop Complaining, Start Living, says that those people that try to keep you in their pact, thank them. What are they doing? But they're called, he said, he calls them sacred clowns. Sacred clowns is a term that's used in many Native American tribes, and it's a sacred position that these sacred clowns that are called to this work will do anything they can to try to distract you. Any kind of annex, any kind of chaos, they will create diversions to keep us mentally tough, to keep us focused. And so you can thank those people that want to keep you in their complaining pact, and thank them as being a sacred clown in your life. And let it be okay. And look for other support for yourself. The first part of this practice is called unconscious incompetence. We are unconscious, unaware of the incompetence of how much we complain. Because it says 15 to 30 times a day, and when we start this practice, we have no idea. We don't think we complain at all, right? How many of you didn't think, oh, this is going to be easy for me? We don't think we complain. And so once we start realizing how much we complain, once we have it, we're moving our bracelet like several times a day or several times a week, it's uncomfortable. We don't like it. And this is the stage where most people quit. Most people quit. Most people take the bracelet off, throw it in the trash, put it in a drawer, and let it go. But not us, right? Not us. We're going to hang in there. Will Bowen says this: a person who puts their purple bracelet in a drawer is making certain that they will never become complaint-free. But don't put your purple bracelet in a drawer. I ordered some more, just in case. They ended up in the trash. They'll be here this week, because we're going to have 2 more reminder talks about this process. It's important work. Because, as our year of possibility, we cannot see all the possibilities that are before us when we're in a mindset of looking at the negative. We can't. We can't. And we do it as human beings. But what do we do when we're complaining is we attract that which we say we don't want. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we complain, the more we get back of what we complain about. The more we become aware of it, the more we can stop. Now, maybe there are some ways, maybe I've learned that I shared with you, I think after the first week, that I realized that I shouldn't be driving, because that's where I do a lot of complaining, when I'm in the car by myself. And I usually like the quiet in the car, not the radio or anything on. I like the quiet most of the time. And I noticed that I was moving my bracelet every time I drove by myself. So I found a way to help myself with that. And you can all find little things that help you. And I found that my favorite music is Frank Sinatra, that era, that kind of music. And so now I listen to Seriously Frank on Sirius XM in my car, and I haven't complained in my car for over 2 weeks now. I find other things. We all do. But, find something that helps you. Find something that helps you. There's an Apache saying that Will lists in the book that says this: it's better to have less thunder in the mouth and more lightning in the hand. And it's true. Thunder in the mouth. A thunder is a loud noise, a complaint, a gripe, and lightning in the hand is decisive action, taking actions, having effective results. And so what it's saying is that our actions are more powerful than the words we speak, especially when those words are negative. And so we want to be aware of that. What actions are you taking versus what words are you saying? What conversations are you having? And how can you have less thunder and more lightning? Not an easy thing to do. Not an easy thing to do. So Will shared a video. He did a video. He started this, I think it was 2000, maybe 3, 4, 5, some early in the 2000s, and did this complaint-free world. And then he did it again several years ago, and he created a video so you could see how difficult it can be. So let's watch this short video. So see, you're in good company. We're all in good company. It's a challenging project. It's a challenging practice to do. But what does he say but that what is the outcome of doing this? More happiness? Do we want that? More energy, more positivity, more love, more joy, more peace when we're not complaining. And so he says in the book, he cites a psychology professor, Dr. Kowalski. And in it, Dr. Kowalski says that the reason why we complain is that we want to elevate our status. That's one of our main goals as human beings, to elevate our status. And status is how we stack up against other people. Now, he talks about this as elevating our status, not so much what other people think of us, but how we value ourselves. And so complaining is a way of helping us feel better about ourselves. And so Will put it in an acronym, GRIPE. So let's see. These are the reasons why we complain. Get attention. We all want to be seen and heard, and we think that by complaining, we get more attention. Remove responsibility. This is prior to doing any action. We will start, because we're afraid that we're not going to be able to live up to it, we'll complain about the circumstances so that so the expectations aren't as high. Inspire envy. This is where gossiping comes in. This is where boasting and bragging comes in. We think by putting other people down, we look better. We raise ourselves up because we don't have that negative character flaw like they do. Then power. Power is by gathering more people on our side, that we think that we're going to, and we usually gather people on our side by through anger, through complaining, through enraging people. Think of politicians who mostly complain about what the other side is doing versus inspiring hope, a vision of hope. And so we complain to elevate our status through this power. And then excuse poor performance. We mostly do not want to be embarrassed. And so when we don't live up to what we say we're going to do, when our results aren't as good as we had thought they should be, we will make excuses. We'll complain about the situation. We'll complain, well, it was bound to fail. I couldn't possibly have done good on that because look at this. And we complain there. So we use all these reasons to complain, but it doesn't make us any happier. It doesn't help us. In fact, complaining is really spiritual amnesia. In Mandarin, there are two symbols that are used for the word complain, and they're hug and ego. So we hug the ego when we complain. We hug the ego. We forget who we are. We need to remember who we are. Remember that we are divine beings. Remember that we have all these possibilities before us. We have all this potential. How many of you still read the sign when you come in here? Yeah, I didn't think so. Me too. We have a sign when we walk into this, and I don't know what we call this little room here. I don't remember. Ann probably knows. She's smiling at me. Anyway, remember who you are. And then when you're walking out, don't forget. Don't forget. But how many times do we forget? We're always forgetting. We're always forgetting. So we want to stop hugging the ego. Do the complaint-free practice. Anything's possible. So I just finished my 30-week class. It started in November. I just finished it last week. And I shared this with a couple friends on Friday, but they can hear it again. My teacher, so our last class, he said to us, I hope that none of you ever use two words again, I can't. Don't ever use that. I hope all of you are past that that you can't do anything. Because we are studying advanced consciousness, because we are studying quantum physics that is proved that there is the domain of potentiality, that there are infinite possibilities always. So he had us write a paper, each of us, and send it to him before our last class and share what one or two things did we take from the class? What one or two profound quantum leaps did we have? A quantum leap is when we have a new aha, we have a new revelation, something, and it changes us, it changes our lives. And so I had two that I wrote in my paper, and I'll share them with you. The first is that there is no objective reality out there. Everything is subjective. Everything starts within. There's no objective reality out there that if that is true, and I believe it now, it's been proven by quantum physics, then I don't have to live up to some objective standard out there. I don't have to compete with something out there. I don't have to get approval. It's freeing to not have to think that there's something out there judging me, that there's something out there telling me what is acceptable and what isn't. It's huge. Everything starts within. Everything is subjective. Absolutely everything is subjective. And we get to decide what meaning we're going to give everything, what value we're going to give everything. We get to decide. It starts with us. That was a huge revelation for me, one I had never even considered before this class. The second one is that there is, I use the word God, so if you get triggered by God, universe, life, spirit, the quantum field, the domain of potentiality, source, whatever word you want to use for that, which connects us all, I use God, that it is not fixed. It is not unchanging. It is evolving. That was a huge aha for me, because I was always taught that God is unchanging and absolute. But how can we put boundaries around that which is all? It's got to continue to evolve, which means to me that I continue to evolve, that I am never fixed. None of us, every one of you, is not fixed in anything, that we always can choose again. We are creative beings. We create with our thoughts. And this is life-changing to me. Nobody can put us in a box. We don't need to put ourselves in a box. We are not victims of circumstance. We are only victims of our own choices. And we get to choose in every moment, with every thought, how we're going to show up, what we're going to think, how we're going to believe. We choose. This gives us more freedom, more ability to be who we came here to be, more opportunities to see the potential, to see the possibilities. It's huge. And I wanted to share that with you, because I think the more of us that can come into this is called a participatory worldview, instead of the Newtonian mechanistic worldview that most of us have been living with for 400 years. For the Newtonian mechanistic worldview separates us, is deterministic, puts controls and limits on us. Whereas a participatory worldview is just that we participate. We choose. If enough of us could think this way and have this kind of worldview, it would change the world, completely change the world. But we have to remember who we are. We have to remember that we are that. And this is Unity's first and second principle, that there's one power, one presence, and we are it. We are it. We have to remember that. But complaining gets in the way of that. Complaining stops us from seeing that. It's like seeing a smudge on a mirror, and we're just focused on that smudge and not the whole reflection. So I want you to take your finger and put it to where, like right in front of your eyes, and focus on, now you might have to put it way out here. I don't know where it is for you to be able to focus on that finger, and I want you to just focus on the tip of your finger. The index finger, please, not the middle finger. I don't want to get a bunch of fingers showing at me. If you're at home, please do this too. So focus on that. Focus on that tip of your finger. And as you focus on this one little thing, what happens is everything else in the background, all in your peripheral vision, gets blurry. It gets distorted. We don't see clearly. When we're focused on one little thing, we don't see ourselves as we really are. We don't see the full reflection. We see the smudge. We're focused on complaining. Now, take your finger down, put it in your lap, and let your gaze take in everything here, the beauty of this building, of this room, of the people that are here, the mountains behind me. I mean, that's the whole picture right now from where you're sitting. We see the whole picture when we're not focused on one little smudge in the mirror. That's taking away that complaint. This is what a complaint-free world can do for you. It can help you see the beauty of this life, the beauty of this world, instead of the things we don't like and the things we tend to focus on. There's a quote by Will. Stop making excuses and begin to move toward your dreams. Victims never become victors. You alone get to choose which you'll be. We get to choose. Are we going to be a victim of circumstance? We're only victims of our choices. We can make a difference when we stop complaining, when we realize, and it's okay wherever you are in this process, let it be okay. As he said, there's no shame in day one. It means you're still trying. It means you're still working at it. I watched a really funny TED Talk yesterday by Sean Aker. Anybody heard of him? He's a Harvard researcher and author. Hilarious TED Talk. But he did research, he called it the Tetris effect, and how most of us will like to point out and focus on the things that are wrong. And so he had a group of people, he said, for 1 week you cannot say out loud anything that's wrong, no complaining. And then he measured the results, 31% increase in productivity. 31% is pretty big. And what happened when they would come together is instead of complaining, they were focused on solutions, because the brain, when it's not allowed to complain, wants to move forward, wants to find solutions, wants to find something that serves, that uplifts. We can do that too. We do that when we stop complaining. And it's not your thoughts, okay? It's just the words we speak. So I invite you to catch yourself. shift the script whenever you catch yourself wanting to go down that road. We can do this, and it can make a big difference. So let's be a community that uplifts and serves and expresses from that place of love and remembers who we are, because each one of us is that divine being. Each one of us is that. Will had one more comment that I want to share. Let your life experiences propel you forward rather than hold you back. Wake up to the beauty that is within you as well as around you. Focus on that. Forgive others. Let stuff go, and you'll begin to live a happier, healthier, complaint-free life. You want that, right? We want this. Want a happier life? Let's do it together. Let's stop focusing on the smudge and look at the whole picture and see the beauty and see the love that is always there, always there. So, happy practicing. Namaste.